Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying their Friday morning. Enjoying the anticipation and thought that this week's finally almost over. Hey, for once, no audio issues. That's a first in a couple weeks. As for me, I'm finally starting to feel better. End up having to have a root canal, some other work done, but tell you what, abscess teeth are not fun, especially when you end up having two. One just happened to be on the tooth where my denture plate clips in. So they didn't want. They had to took them a couple tries to get it fixed. End up doing a root canal, and basically, then they had to grind it so the clip would fit on the tooth again. They did warn me that because it's my whole denture plate's metal. They did warn me eventually that grinding on it might cause some wear, but my tooth ended up cracking. So yeah, I've been miserable. I had upper and lower tooth that was filling came out, got infected, and I put it off. Knowing better, and yeah, I paid the price, 2 weeks off of work. Constantly running a fever of 101, 102. Made for a very crappy birthday. It's made it for a very crappy next couple weeks. Had a 1 day paycheck this week, and I didn't pay the bills. So it's yeah. I'm just glad I'm feeling better. Glad I hopefully still have a job. I mean, I've got doctor's notes for it, so I'll cover it, so I won't get pointed. And I had a vacation day, so unfortunately, that's all I had. I'm just be glad when this year's over. I've been sick so much this year. But like I said, just rolling with the punches. Like I said, it's been pretty much a craptacular last 4 or 5 months. But like I said, I got to think of positive things. I'm happy that it's just been, honestly, I haven't been sick, anything dealing with respiratory issues, which is good. Finally got that taken care of. My blood pressure and pulse rate's been back to normal, so everything's going good on that end. I haven't been sick. Just, you know, teeth. Morning, Bree. Hope you're feeling better. I know Ian, but she's been under the weather too. Glad to hear that. Well, I got a few talking points I want to talk about this morning. Like, bear with me. I'm still on medication, so I'm pretty kind of, especially the pain meds, because I don't even want to talk about the pain. Thankfully, I'm feeling a lot. That subsided. I at least talk now. Talking was very painful, and the whole left side of my jaw was swelled like a softball. So, yeah, my birthday sucked. Yeah, feel free to join in, Bree. Like I said, I'm still kind of loopy with the pain meds, but I definitely want to talk Elon Musk, the doxing stuff, and I'm not sure what else. I can't remember what else I put in the title, but I'm sure it had something to do with. I know it was Twitter. Oh yeah, Twitter, Elon Musk, doxing, and there's something else. Oh, the JFK files. That a bunch of files, I guess, got released that the Biden administration decided to release and distract everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, that's probably one of the biggest conspiracies that I grew up with, and that was part of my dad's time. My dad's talked about it. Will we truly ever know the truth? No, because they're not going to let us know the truth. I mean, look at all the conspiracy theories and stuff that we goes on about Hitler. Did he actually shoot himself, commit suicide, like they said, or some of the evidence that's came out, photos and stuff, where Hitler was in Cuba. I mean, that was with the last release files they found in the JFK stuff, which I don't know why it was in the JFK stuff, but it was in that batch of documents that they released. I don't think that actually pertained to JFK per se. It just was in the set of documents that they released. But I also look at it as it's a distraction. It's a distraction from what's going on or not going on. And I just think the timing odd. Around the holidays, and we got to talk about probably one of the stupidest scientific research analysis, whatever you want to call it, about the vaccinated are getting into more accidents. I mean, what the hell? I want to focus on this just for a little bit. It'll tie into everything we talk about. Ties into everything. Follow the money. The scientific research stuff, you follow the money from the government, you'll find that for their propaganda, there's more money going to these said scientists, these said research facilities, than anywhere else to fit their propaganda and narrative. It's always been that way. That's what propaganda is. We have trillions of dollars missing that no one knows where it went to. That's misplaced, whatnot. It's unaccountable for. That's not unaccountable for. It goes into projects like this. It goes into the propaganda funding. If you follow the money, you follow everything like that, you'll start seeing who to listen to and who not to. There's good scientists out there. There's good research out there. They're not getting the funding. They're not getting tax breaks. They're not getting tax cuts. They're not getting donations like from Pfizer and all these pharmaceutical companies, because their research turns out to be the true research. It goes against what the paid scientists and research companies are saying. But yet we get caught up in that. Heaven, I say this, heaven forbid they pull that stunt again, because it's going to be far worse. We thought the lockdown, shutdowns, and all that sucked the first time around. That was just a beta test. They wanted to see how compliant you guys were going to be, how we would react. Trust me, the next time they do it, it'll be worse. And I tell you what, don't get complacent. I can see that in the very near future happening again. These people in power have gotten so corrupt, so greedy. And honestly, I almost titled, Welcome to the New Rome. And I think people should study the history of Rome to understand that what we're dealing with, what our founding fathers created, was not a new concept in a sense. It's the history, studying of history, understanding how foreign governments, foreign empires, monarchies lived back in a time before Rome became an empire. I mean, it was still huge. It was a monarchy. Most people don't know that. We're, taught that, you have the Senate and all that. That came after the monarchy. But then again, if you look at it, we had a Senate. The Senate would elect based off their citizens, which, Roman citizens were all pretty much the elites, the rich, the wealthy. What was the term? Not a Caesar at this point. It would have been a dictator. They called it a dictator. Wonder where we get the term for dictator, right? Well, it comes from the Roman era. They would elect a dictator to run the military, to have oversight, to have some portion of control, much like we elect a president. Over a span of time, the dictators became real dictators and didn't want to relinquish control. They didn't want to serve for 6 months. Well, we're in this crisis. We want to serve the appointed for this amount of time, 10 years. Went from 10 years to just being the emperor or the Caesar. The history of Rome is very important. We want to understand our foundation and building blocks, what they build it off of, the concept, the ideas, the adding of free speech. So much in our modern times, we can reflect our history. People need to understand that. That's why there's been always a push to remove certain aspects of history. That's why Hitler did all the book burning. That's why our current government, many of which were in when they took place, they're pushing for removing the digital, censoring stuff, censoring information, controlling the narrative, controlling the topics. Right now, that's why all these media outlets are pissed off at what Elon Musk did overnight. Don't totally agree with what took place, but there's one thing I do agree with. There is no place for doxing. I mean, if you ever get in trouble with the law, go to court, you get a motion of discovery. Well, let me tell you something. That motion of discovery, what you're not going to see, because it's blacked out. You're not going to see somebody's their names, their addresses. Not even the court of law gives you out that information. Now, yes, you are right. There is a Public Information Act to where you have a right as a citizen to know, to go check. But there are laws within those laws that say you cannot go harass. That's actually a felony if you use that information to target an individual. No, I'm not a fan of somebody going on the internet and publishing, this is where this person's at. But also, I blame you. Because you bought into the concept this started with Facebook and Instagram. You guys just share your information for free. You tell everybody where you're at. Hey, you turn your tracking device. You said, hey, I'm here at this spot. You're just as much to blame. Turn that shit off. It ain't nobody's damn business where you're at that moment. We create some of the problems. But no, it should be against the law to publicly dox somebody to where their life could be in danger. We do have a legal system. As broken as it is, a person is innocent till proven guilty. Yes, I know it doesn't seem like that in this country, and truthfully it isn't. They treat you as you're guilty. Instead of treating you as you're still innocent and presumed guilty. Elon Musk is nothing more than a rich, elitist billionaire that acts like a child sometimes. He's made promises that he still hasn't come through. But yet everybody's giving him praise. I'm not going to give the man praise. He wants praise. Go fix what's wrong with Flint, Michigan, like he promised. Earn people's respect. Actions speak louder than words. His actions are thus far as, yes, he's done some good things for Twitter. It's improved, but it hasn't. It's still the sleazeball filth that it's always been. Full of fucking cam whores that are trying to solicit you, full of scammers. I'd like to see them gone because they're breaking the law. They're soliciting. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy my eye candy on there as much as the next man or woman. I have no problem with that. I agree. Twitter should be a forum, any social platform should be a forum of open speech, open conversation. You shouldn't have the fear of what you say is going to get you banned. You shouldn't have no corporations coming in and say, well, we pay you to advertise, and we don't agree with. This is YouTube's downfall. If you say something goes against their advertisers, giving them more money than you're worth, then they're going to cut you. They're going to remove your content, suspend you. Same thing happens on Gab. It's been proven. Well documented. Gab's just as guilty. They're all guilty. Mine has its issues. There is no perfect site. Elon's kind of got the concept, but you can't act like a child. And I like the fact that he's listening to the people on Twitter, but also remember some of those people you're listening to are just as much children because they don't get the concept of the idea of what free speech really is. Free speech is hate speech. It's the opposite of opinions, things you don't agree with. It's all the things we don't like. And we act like children when things that we don't like influence our areas. Instead of being adults and just, okay, ignore it, block the person, turn the damn thing off, or be more selective who you follow and let into your circles. I've been jumping on a lot of spaces late on Twitter. I tried to do one, but I'm used to this type of format. This is easier for me. And I can do a little bit more things. A few things I can't do right now. I just don't know why, but I'm tired of dealing with the minds on that aspect. Supposedly we have screen sharing, but I can't share a screen. But, if I wanted to do that, I have other software. I don't have to stream from the minds to YouTube. I can just turn XSplit on. It's a convenient tool. I like it because I don't have to have other software apps. I can do it right here from the Gathering app, the Jitsi app. It's on your phone. Give people a phone number, they can call in. Give people a link, they can come in and join me. And we can have conversations. We can have good topics. And I have the same control that I would have in a space. I can mute people's, but it's gotten to that point where we're dealing with social media all the time. It's become an addiction to so many people. But it's becoming a highway for our information. Many people get their information from social media instead of the news. The news is a dinosaur that's quickly dying. But they brought that on themselves. They're not accountable. They're not respectable anymore. gotten too greedy at covering propaganda, pushing a narrative to the company's alliance to a party. Fox is just as guilty. Fox sticks to the right, just like the CNN and MSN stick to the left. That's why it's so enjoyable to have these podcasts, have these spaces, hearing different conversations, different topics, people discussing these things, whether we agree with them or not, because they make us think and question. You know, what Elon Musk did, I find very hypocritical when he posted dude's picture. That was all right. There was no information given. But when he got the license plate, you just made yourself a hypocrite because you just gave people access to, for a fee, can actually find out who he is. More than likely that was a rental car, but who knows? It might have been his car. Problem is, we make this stuff too easy. Elon must have had his tag set up to where, hey, I'm going to be here. Or he let something slip. And I've always told you, I mean, the prepper community, man, don't show the shit your shit. If you're going to educate, educate. But you don't have to be at your spot doing it. It's too easy to find locations. People don't need to know where you're at all the time. They don't need to know what you have, what you drive. But yet, we're too free with it. Hey, go ahead, Brie. I'll let you chat for a bit.
I was just sitting back and listening, but um, I was the other day I was listening and I use because of my family. I have some young drivers in my family that are under the age of 18.
Yeah, I remember because you tell me. I hear when we're talking in the back room and stuff how you use that. It's kind of cool, but that's where they get us. It's cool. It has a very practical reason,
Well,
but it's dangerous.
it is, but when you stop it and think about it, I being disabled and whatnot to a point that there's yeah, there goes freaking snowplow again. They have a
Snow,
job.
what's that?
Yo, we got hit again, and it's now we've got freezing drizzle happening, as well. But being a disabled driver, Life 360 has a lot of good, good functional uses, but it's in the right hands. It's a very good tool to have. Um, and but it can also be. I can see where the predictability and the subjective programming is because it tells the telemetry of how fast people are driving in your circle are and whatnot, and what the top speeds are of the throughout the week, and there's so much that goes in to that, and I was sitting back, was it Monday or Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. I was sitting back. Shit, I got to turn my headphones down a little bit.
I had to turn mine up.
Oh, you want more volume? I can give you more.
No,
But it was. Uh, I haven't been out of the house since like Sunday, I think it was, and because 360 has to run in the background, and it asked me um, a, a question that about once a month or so it'll ask me, and because it does help the app run smoother, but it asked if I was satisfied and wanted the app to continue to run in the background, and it showed some of the areas that I had been in over the last like 5 or 6 days, And I was like, wow, how crazy was that? Because the three places that it had highlighted was the areas that I had actually used my phone, because it does actually chart how often you actually, every data point where you use your phone while driving, it actually creates a data point. So it's training you through suggestion of, if you're speeding, if you're using your phone while driving, all this shit. Again, it's subject suggestive programming. Are you speeding? Are you hammering your brakes? Are you using your phone while driving? All these things, and it's subjective programming, just like fucking Twitter, just like reading news and whatnot. It's all subjective and deliberate programming.
Well, here's my question. Now, you back when I could share screens, which I don't know why I still can't. I've showed you how, because you remember my phone was actually deactivated during that time because I was behind on bills. So I had everything turned off on my phone. Now I don't use my tracking unless I'm out and about, for like weather app. I know there's gonna be some weather stuff. Other than that, it's turned off almost all the time. With all my stuff deactivated, turned off, Google Maps and Google
68
Drive
times. 68 times.
still had my information of everywhere I've been with my phone,
68.
even though it was turned off.
Yep. I remember that conversation. 68 times it pinged. Because we were talking in the
exact locations, every store I've been into.
68 times.
And I've got all those settings turned off.
And I was rather
and let's not to mention third-party apps. These are third-party apps. There's third-party software in these apps, which we don't know who they give the information to. It's not hard to track somebody in this modern day of time because we're so stuck on technology. We have to have our iPads, we have to have our iPhones, Samsung phones, whatever, on us 24/7. I mean, see, that's where they get us, though, because those apps you're talking about, those are definitely important apps, especially somebody that's disabled or diabetic, older people that might fall. Having that ability on their phone. I mean, now your phones, I think it's Google that's doing it. No, it's Apple. If you're in a car accident, it will notify the emergency.
Yeah, this 360, it actually does have crash detection on it. If you give me 2 seconds, I will actually. I had to send an email here real quick. Where is it?
But that is how they get us. They programmed us over the years. Actually, they start with the younger generations. That's why it's so important. The things that are going on now, that we put our foot down. I mean, things can be a lot more scary than they are. They're scary enough. But it only takes a few sick individuals, crazy psychotics, whatever you want to call them, to utilize these things. For all the good. I mean, it's just like anything in life. You get your good with your bad. You can't just get one. You're getting both. We all have our ups and downs, our stumbling blocks. And in the end, it comes down to us making the right adult decisions. the right choices. Just like the Twitter files. Okay, it's not really new news. We've all known this. And it's not really getting any media attention. And, a lot of it's stuff that most of us can't prove if we wanted to. Not in a court of law. I mean, some of us don't need to prove it. We've had it happen to us. Some people repeatedly. I mean, we were seeing people that were banned for 3 years, 4 years, being reinstated. I personally think when it comes to the doxing aspect of it needs to be treated as a criminal matter because it is. You're endangering someone's life. But we also have people say, well, this person's spreading misinformation. They need suspended. No, they don't. They have that right. They have the right to their opinion and views. What they don't have a right to do is to illegally spread misinformation. Because then it's no longer freedom of expression or speech. It is an intent. It's an action. They're doing it intentionally, but you got to be able to prove they are doing it intentionally. And you can't go after the media because they're protected. Obama took care of that. They're allowed to spread disinformation, propaganda. He signed that executive order. So therefore, what they're doing is legal. And it shouldn't be legal. Go ahead.
I'll be back in a minute. I got to run to the office real quick.
All right. And that's where we get our wires a little mixed up. We have to take everything with a grain of salt. It is our responsibility and our due diligence to question everything. Do our own research, not take what anybody says at face value. And that includes me. Double check my thing. I don't need fact checkers to check facts. Although I am enjoying now the new way Twitter's doing it because they're giving you the opinion. Was this helpful? What'd you find wrong with it? A whole list of things. What I'd like to see is, if you're going to fact check something, give 2 different sides of the story. Give one scientific fact from this group and give a scientific fact from the opposing side that disagrees with it and why. Then at the end, it's up to you to make the decision which ones you feel is right. And I can tell you the simple way is follow the money. How many pharmaceutical companies have invested millions of dollars in it? How much government is invested in it, whether it be grants, loans, tax reductions, tax breaks. And you'll start seeing how things really work. Yes, it takes research. Most of us live in a day and age, we don't have time to do all kinds of research. But I tell you what, I research every medication that's given to me before I take it. I don't take the doctor's word for it. I want to know the side effects. I want to know what it's done. I don't buy something because it says organic on it either. That's not entirely true. I don't believe a label either. I definitely don't believe a label. So if I'm that picky about my food, I better be that picky about the medication I take in. I better be that picky about the information I take in about practices. Let me tell you something. When you don't have time to properly do trials and research on a medication, on a vaccine, I'll be damned if I'm going to be your guinea pig. And that's what everybody was with these vaccines. We were their guinea pigs. Because they didn't know what the consequences is, because there's no data. There was no research. There was no real trials. The trials they did have, we know it was killing animals. We know the government was pushing big to cancel anybody that was talking about it. Many of the social media platforms are working their asses off to suspend, block, shadow ban, whatever terminology or label you want to use, to censor the information. Because they didn't want people talking about it. They want you to obey. Our job is not to obey. When we elect our politicians, they are our representatives. They're supposed to be our voice. They're, in a sense, let's use the master and slave concept. We are the master, they are the slave. But unfortunately, they get in Congress and they want to think it's the other way around. They're the masters and we're the slaves, and we're to be obedient and follow every word and direction they say. I don't follow no one. Especially people that think they are in power and in charge and know better than me. No one knows better than me about my life than me. No one should know any better about what's best for your children than you. And we learn as we go. Do we have all the right answers? No. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from our successes. No, I think, truthfully, we'll have to have this conversation with people. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I've never had kids. But I think the most difficult task we ever have as human beings is that of being a parent. Especially for the first time. It gets easier the second time and third time around, from what I'm told. But at the first time, they're clueless. You can read all the books you want. You can watch all the YouTube videos you want on it. That's, you haven't walked a mile in that person's shoes. You don't know. I mean, you can learn a little bit until you start trying things, because you've got a newborn and a newborn who hasn't walked a mile in the shoes of anybody, that's open, sees the world for what it really is, until we start changing that opinion, that mental psychic part of it, saying this is wrong, this is right, don't believe this. We start teaching them, we start programming. So we're giving them their foundation, we're building their foundation that, in many cases, it's from our wisdom, from things we've learned, not so much with the last few generations, because they haven't been taught by us. They haven't experienced, and their parents haven't experienced the things that they've been stuck with, the social media stuff, what they've been taught in schools against the parents' wishes or the parents' knowledge. Now, a child in some states have more rights and authority than the adult parent. How can that be when that child is still developing, still growing, still being taught what the world is really like? Much as I love these social media platforms, they're a cancer. They're a cancer to society. And because instead of being utilized solely for the good that they can produce, they've been used by evil people's hands, evil, wealthy, elitist, rich billionaires, millionaires, politicians, dictators, communist fascists, those that claim to be righteous above the other because their cause and their beliefs are more righteous than another person's. The zealots, they are the true evil and cancer of the world, because they destroy anything that's freedom. They destroy anything that's free expression, free thought, because your opinion is different than theirs. God, this is a morning coffee and chat. Boy, I've been out of it for a couple weeks.
Sorry about that. I had a phone call come in too. I
didn't do it.
No, I know you didn't do it. It's just flat greasy. Yet some people are choosing to drive 30, 35 mile an hour on freezing rain and ice covered roads past my house. People are stupid.
Oh, the last time I was on Twitter, yep, it's still down. Spaces are down on Twitter, so
And
I
you
think
know,
that's kind of interesting.
I've been seeing a lot of interesting things. I never have issues commenting on videos and really anywhere, but yesterday I had like Ellie King, Jesus Christ, a big semi, 35 mile an hour on ice. Wow, he gonna have a problem.
It sucks to be him.
And I live right at the top of a hill.
On the
And
again, he might be weighted down enough to where it's not that bad.
but like Ellie King, she was talking about uh recovering from a concussion, and she mentioned something, and I went to comment on it, and for whatever reason, I wasn't able to comment. Yet I'm a subscriber.
That's okay.
Hmm.
I can't share my videos anymore to my Facebook page.
Interesting.
I can to KOTR,
I,
but
I
not to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. It's there. I'm not suspended or anything, but I cannot. I don't get the option for Sons and Daughters of Liberty anymore to share my videos there. So just one more spot. I got to do it manually.
it's weird. I went to try and post um to my other page on Face Crack. There was something that Kim had posted the other day, and for whatever reason, I had to, and I was doing it from my phone. Um, and usually I don't have any problem sharing from my phone at all. Where sometimes from my computer it's a pain in the ass. Um, and it was the video that he was talking about uh his cat,
Yeah,
and me being a cat lover, it kind of hits you in the sweet spot, especially when I just lost not too awful long ago my oldest, you know, um, you know, Grandpa Scratch, so kind of hits you uh just right, and I had to copy the link and paste it instead of just doing it through the paste to page way I normally do it. I was like, that's stupid. It's but since the last updates came through for Facebook and even to a lesser point Twitter, and don't even get me started on the mines. Me and the mines are still well, they can jump on that magic ride, and when you hit the elbow, it's
yeah.
over. Oh.
I mean, I like I said, we've discussed the mines at great length. They're like I said, it's not the ultimate solution, but for me, it's probably one of the up until when Twitter's going down, it's kind of getting better there, but there's still a lot of things I can't do from Twitter that I can do from the mines. And in the mines, you get what you get. Do they have their issues? Yes, they do.
Find me a platform that doesn't.
Exactly.
And that's what I jumped on a channel the other day. I think it was Saturday morning. Um, they were running their mouth about, oh, we're gonna be live over on this platform because of the censorship and the shadow banning here. And I was like, where did you start? Where did you get known at? And they were actually logged in here, and they're like, well, we started here. I said, where's your um 5K plus base at? And they're like, here. I says, you realize that by jumping around here, there, and everywhere, you're going to lose at least half of your base from where you started.
Yep.
I says, it's a proven fact. I
Then,
says,
then another quarter when you make the jump again and again, and it just is.
and they fire back at me. They're like, how long have you been on this platform? I says, since 2007. I've been here.
God. Now I got my start. Well, like most people my age, and you're over the hill, so I'll just leave you out of this one.
Emphatically, fuck you. Yes, I'm over 50, people, but I'm over 50, and yes, I'm 150 ish pounds of meanness and attitude. How many 50-year-olds can say they're in that weight class? Not fucking many. So I can say that. There's not many 40-year-olds that can say they're that in that weight class in America. So, yeah, I think I can go there. It's in fact I had a conversation with somebody this morning up in Canada, and they were they've been having some uh uh down moments, and I was like, okay, so you're a couple of pounds over. I says, but that's the societal norms are not what they used to be.
No,
I
the
said,
societal norms or morals or values aren't what they used to be.
Exactly that. I says, if a person is plus 10 pounds, what the chart says, okay, fine. But living in a northern climate, it's not such a bad idea. You stay a little warmer, but the sheer fact of staying within the realm, it isn't a bad idea. But when you get going more than 40 and up, from like, I was born in the very early 70s. There's very few people in my age category that are anywhere near within 20 pounds of the achievable. I mean, and I look at the that generation that is in the the 30 to 35 age class. I mean, my God, they're 40 pounds or more over what they should be. I mean, Jesus criminy. How many ho-hos and zoom zooms did they have last week? You know what I mean when I say ho-hos and zoom zooms.
I haven't had a ho-ho in a while. Wait, wrong ho-ho.
Or Swiss cake rolls. I stand convicted on Swiss cake rolls because I had 6 last night.
Like I said, it's interesting times we live in. Excuse me, but Like me, most of the platforms I started off on are no longer around.
Yeah, I mean, you and
I
I.
mean, MySpace is gone.
Yep, Ning is gone. Well,
Ning's gone.
well, Ning,
I was on Ning. Well, it's been bought out several times.
Ning is still there, and it's the codices for Ning is still there. It's just been renamed.
Yeah, it's been bought out several times since I've been there. I left during I left right when they. I mean, that's what people don't understand. This shit you're seeing on these big social media platforms, that ain't shit. It all started on platforms like Ning, Spurts. They were what Twitter and all them came from with these platforms. It's just like a lot of the Ning developers had gotten in a little tiff and argument. Egos got in the way and some other stuff, personal stuff. And half their developers went and created Spurts, which was just a mirror of Ning. Twitter is a mirror of what those two platforms had. Facebook's the same way. Every platform's mirrored each other. The only real mirrors we don't get is YouTube. But yet we have Twitch, DLive, which is a joke. TikTok, which YouTube's now copying TikTok for shorts. It's just a copy of everything. Everybody copies off each other to create what they want to be the next best thing. But I tell you what, all the censorship crap stuff started back when I was on Ning.
Yeah,
they beta tested all this over on the Ning platforms, these smaller platforms, or some of them weren't small. I mean, fuck, I was on Pagan Space. I was an admin over there. I'm talking at its peak and heyday was 500,000. This is early 2000s, 500,000 people and growing.
Yeah, when I was an admin on Ning, and when I remember the last time I had logged in on Ning, I had looked at the bottom of the admin panel, and it had said there was 21.5 million. Wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
21.5 million registered Ning sites.
Yep.
21.5 million Ning sites, and over as 158 million registered Ning users.
Yep.
158 million. So at that time, that actually was larger than Facebook.
Well, yeah, because at Facebook at the time, Facebook didn't cater to a lot of the overseas countries like Brazil, South American countries, Europe. So they created their own. A lot of my family. If I wanted to talk to my family in Brazil, we did it over on Orkut, which is just kind of a slap off of YouTube, or not YouTube, but Facebook and MySpace. But that was the platform. Then Google did away with it. Everybody that was on Orkut eventually migrated to Facebook.
Right, and since
and that's what we do. We migrate. We go to the next platform, next best thing. They taught us early on to do that.
Right, and this is I really wish as
I mean, look at Gab. Gab's just a knockoff of Twitter. Same way with Getter and True Social. They're just a knockoff of Twitter.
This is that.
But Twitter is a knockoff of Ning.
This is one of those. This is that point where I've been dying to say this directly to
trying to say something.
To YouTube. I get a lot of emails every week. I get on average of 20 to 25 emails every week from YouTube. And since I know that YouTube does listen to you and watch your shit all the time, where they don't pay much attention to me,
you think?
Lay off the spam shit in my email. Lay off it. If I want to create a short, I'll create a short. I post a lot of stuff on and share a lot of content on my community page and whatnot. If I find a video that I like, I will share the damn thing. Otherwise, knock it off. I don't need to know how to grow my channel. If I want to grow my channel, I'll get active on it. I'll create and curate new content. I don't need to know, because I know how to make a channel to grow, thrive, and become successful, because I've done it multiple times. And once my channel gets to a certain point, you knock it down. So I do what's best for me when I have the time to do it. That being said, I've seen a lot of social media sites come, and I've seen a lot of social media sites go. Just like I've seen a lot of content creators come, and I've seen a lot of content creators go. And I get so tired. Thanks. I'll fire one up too.
I'm about out. I'm very close to being out, and I'm fucking screwed because until one of my neighbors gets home from work, I'm stuck because my truck's battery dead again.
But it's, I get so tired of getting these emails from, insert platform here. Oh, log in, post new content to grow your media presence here.
Yeah.
I've
been getting the same. I've been getting a lot of that here last 2 months.
From YouTube, I get 25 to 30 a week. Twitter's been spamming the shit out of me lately. Minds has been blowing me up lately. Patreon. Quite frankly, the only reason why I have a Patreon is because I wanted to secure the name so that it nobody else could come along and snatch the name up. So I created the name just so that nobody else could snatch it up on me. But I'm all over the place on many different platforms. Do I use them all? No, I don't. Because I'm dealing with a multiplicity of injuries on multiple levels, and then being sick early in the week, and getting ready for the holiday season, and quite frankly and quite honestly, this year has, I think this year I have put out fewer videos on my channel, and I've made fewer appearances on yours than I have in the past 5 years.
Yeah. I'm actually the same way.
Well,
but most of mine is because of my crazy work hours, which I paid for. I mean, I paid for that and help.
Well, just because at FSPN, I believe in truth, honesty, and transparency. Going back to last year, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's about 6 weeks time. I had 4 concussions in 6 weeks. You can't do this type of work and suffer those kind of catastrophic injuries and be able to do this. You just can't. Plus a vehicle wreck in there. And then literally right after I came out of that post-concussive cycle, all the while I also had to get a new primary.
We're going to get caught up here in a second.
Okay. And so I had to
we're about to the hour mark. So
I had to get a new doctor, and then my right arm started going to hell, and then major neck injuries began. Um, and all those conditions have just kind of been lingering. So this entire year has been hell. So how am I supposed to curate content when I have all this shit going on?